Tim Albright with AVNation at CEDIA Expo 2021, back on the show floor with Ken Brook from ModusVR. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. You're in your booth.
Yeah.
Finally, back at at show floors. We've talked with you a couple of different times, virtually, really. So let's talk for a second about what ModusVR is.
Sure.
And we'll start with the CEDIA channel. We'll start with the residential channel, but you also got some stuff working in the commercial as well.
Yeah. So Modus is a real-time design and sales tool. So it allows the integrator and the client to both be in a virtual space together and see the project come to life. The biggest thing that makes Modus different from perhaps other rendering tools is when it enters the project lifecycle. So traditionally, 3D rendering tools happen towards the end. And that's simply because they're so expensive and so slow. You really don't want to be bringing those in early because every change adds a week or two to the project. And so because of that, they end up being at the very end of the project, which happens to be the worst time for a render to be introduced, because that's usually the first time the client understands what they're going to get. So Modus is somewhat the antithesis of that. So Modus is you can think of it more like a whiteboard than a rendering tool. It's all about speed. You'll even see it in this loop here as someone's moving stuff around, resizing things. That's all happening in real time based on customer feedback. So when you bring Modus into the conversation at the front of the sales and design process, you can quickly sketch out these ideas, discover problems or challenges, and then work through solutions while the client is with you, and come up with much better solutions in a much shorter amount of time, and the client's never guessing what they're going to get. So the whole process is just so much faster and easier and more pleasant for everyone involved.
All right, so kind of walk through this with me. You've got the software here. If I'm not particularly technologically advanced, and I'm just not comfortable, right, with thinking that I can do this. Is there solutions where I can hire you guys, or we can do this collaboratively, where me and my client are sitting and you guys on your side are the ones doing the pushing?
Yeah. I mean, we only win when our customers are winning, right? And so we do everything we can to help with that. But first, for anyone that thinks they need to have CAD experience or 3D modeling experience, they don't. Modus is incredibly easy to pick up, and that's one of the things we strive to show at trade shows. We let people try the tool hands-on, and in 10 minutes, they can build a very ugly room. But that's how easy it is to learn, right? They don't need any of this CAD experience. But it's always like purple couches.
It's a little less ugly.
Yeah, and then by the time they've had about an hour of training, they're proficient. There are no secrets they still have yet to learn. And then within a few hours of practice, they are presentation ready where they can have a client with them.
Okay.
With that said, though, a lot of our new clients are often, still getting their feet wet, trying to understand the process, and presenting at the same time as doing stuff can be a bit of a challenge. And that's where our technical support comes in. Because we're all virtual, we can join people remotely anywhere in the world in the project that they're working on. And so when they're presenting to a client, we're happy to be there in the background or in the foreground, depending on their level of comfort, just to help. Right? And so we've had many cases where it'll be a new customer's first VR session with the client. And and they might be a little uncomfortable, and they're saying, okay, well, what if we did this? And then we're just making it happen. Right? We are their hands, but they are the voice. Whatever they need, we'll do for them. And that's just a big part of our service.
All right. When it comes to the VR part right here, obviously virtual reality is what that stands for. When we are presenting to the client, is it something where they have to have a VR headset? Is that a necessity of this system?
It used to be that way. When we first launched several years ago, we felt VR was such a powerful medium, we would be doing a disservice to clients if we let them consume it in any other way. And the pandemic helped us rethink that a little bit, because VR is not always practical, even outside of a pandemic. So we've actually been working on a lot of tools to remove VR from the equation when it doesn't make sense. And there's a handful of different ways you can do that. One of those we're showing off today is basically over Zoom calls. And so the presenter is still in VR because that's where the tools are happening, but the clients can participate from anywhere else in the world over Zoom or Microsoft Teams or any type of screen sharing application, and they just have a view into this world. So while they lose the virtual reality benefits of truly understanding scale and having that sense of presence, they still reap all the benefits of this whiteboard-like environment where you can react to feedback, answer questions, try out ideas in record time. And so now they can do it, at work, right? I need to step out for 20 minutes and hop on a call while my integrator shows me this new idea they had once they've built out the space.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. It's an incredible experience.
Yeah, and one of the more common ones, I've talked with a couple of your clients, folks that have used this, and one of the more common, I guess, solutions that they've used this for is the size of a TV, right? What does a 75 inch, what does a 105 inch look like on my wall, on this wall? Well, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, this is what it looks like, right? This is the amount of space that we're actually taking up on this wall. Is that okay? Do you want it smaller and bigger type?
Yep.
So it gives actually we're showing it right
Yeah,
here, right?
there you go.
where it's you're able to actually see the spatialness, not its word, but the spatialness of
it's the relative scale
Yeah.
compared to everything else in the room.
Yeah.
And screens are such a classic example because you also have aspect ratio in the mix,
Yeah.
right? And so you say, a lot of people will say, I want a home theater, but after talking to them, it turns out what they really want is a place to watch the football game.
Yeah.
And so, okay, well that changes what you should do. And so, great, we need to show you what a 16:9 signal is going to look like on a 235 screen, right? You're going to get those bars on the sides that a lot of people don't like. Maybe that's a worthwhile trade-off to them. Maybe it's not. Maybe you need to introduce masking into the conversation, right? There's several ways to tackle that, but the more jargon you throw at a client, the less comfortable they're going to be, the slower they're going to be to make decisions. And Modus can just eliminate all of that because you're showing them instead of talking at them.
Yeah. When you and I first started talking a year or so ago, you had a lot of templates for homes and home theaters and so, but now you've expanded those templates, those devices basically you can put in space, and you're getting into what I would call more of a commercial space, right? Where you've got video conferencing elements and stuff like that. Talk about that for a second.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at Modus, it is a space planning tool with a heavy AV focus, right? So when we very first launched, we were home theater focused because that was our entry point where we could focus, and we expanded to media rooms and other areas in the home. Commercial was just a logical extension of that. And where we've really excelled in the commercial side is on the conference rooms. Because in addition to just space planning, we also visualize technical concepts. Like right here, we've got our projector placement for showing throw distance. When it comes to conference rooms, we can show things like the camera field of view. And we can give you a preview of what that camera from Poly or Logitech or whoever it might be is going to see. And we know it's pan, tilt, and zoom capabilities. So when you place a camera, you know with certainty that if it's picking up everybody in Modus, it's going to do the same thing in real life, which lets people work through problems, right? Not every conference room is a perfect rectangle where the camera can go dead center. Sometimes it has to be off to the side, above or below the screens, whatever the case may be. Being able to visualize those things quickly, especially perhaps if you're coming out of a pandemic and you have a giant rethink of your entire office space, being able to go through that stuff quickly and with confidence is extremely important.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Ken, if somebody wants to find out more about Modus, how do they test it out for a test drive? How do they get a hold of you? And
Well, visit us at ModusVR.com. That's MOD as in Delta, US, VR.com. And we're happy to set up a remote design session to show them what it's all about.
Very good. Ken Burke from Modus. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
For us, for AVNation, go by our website, AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv. You'll find more videos from the show floor of CEDIA Expo 2021. All that and more at AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv.